Hey, y'all, picture this: a quiet evening at Willow Creek Campgrounds. The kind of place where the air smells like pine and grilled burgers, where kids are running around with sparklers, and the sun's dipping low, painting everything gold. That's where Maya Thompson, a 38-year-old black woman, thought she'd find a moment to breathe, to just sit with a book and let the world slow down. She's a public defender, spends her days fighting for folks who can't fight for themselves in courtrooms that don't always listen. But out here, at this free public campground in small-town Virginia, she figured she could just be Maya, not a title, not a target. Man, was she wrong. It's barely dusk when this shadow falls over her page. She looks up, and there's Officer Travis Boone, mid-40s, white, with this smirk that says he's already decided who she is before she opens her mouth. Those mirrored sunglasses of his reflect her face back at her, warped, like she's already less than human in his eyes. Permit. He snaps. No hello, no nothing. Just that word, sharp like a slap. Maya blinks, confused, because Willow Creek's been free to the public forever. No permits, no fees, just show up and enjoy. Officer, there's no permit needed here, she says, calm, polite, keeping her hands visible, her book still open on her lap. This is public land, always has been. Boone tilts his head, like she just spit in his coffee. Don't play cute with me, he says, voice low mean. Show me the permit, or you're trespassing. Trespassing. That word hits her like a brick. She glances around, families grilling, white couples lounging in hammocks, kids chasing fireflies, nobody else getting hassled. The only difference between them and her, the color of her skin. Maya's no stranger to this game. She's seen it in court, seen black folks get pinged for violations that don't exist, watched the system twist itself to justify it. But now it's her, out here in the open, with this cop leaning in, his breath hot with something that ain't just authority, it's personal, it's ugly. Officer, check the sign at the entrance, she says, still steady, though her heart's pounding. No permits required. You know that. Boone laughs, not a real laugh, more like a growl. You think you're smart, huh? People like you always think you can talk your way out. People like you. There it is, the knife she knew was coming. She's not just Maya anymore, she's a black woman who dared to exist in his space, and that's enough to make her a problem. Before she can respond, another cop rolls up, Officer Kyle Vance, younger, all sharp edges and eager to prove he belongs. What's the holdup? He asks Boone, eyeing Maya like she's a suspect in a lineup. No permit, won't leave, Boone mutters, and she's getting mouthy. Mouthy. Maya feels that word like a punch. She's seen it in police reports, how it turns a black woman's voice into a crime. She keeps her cool, though, says, I'm not mouthy, I'm stating facts. Check with the Parks Department. I'm not breaking any rules. Vance just shakes his head. Ma'am, you need to pack up and go, or this gets messy. Messy. That's when Maya feels the crowd's eyes on her. A family nearby stops eating, a teenage girl, Sarah, though Maya doesn't know her name, yet pulls out her phone, the little red light blinking as she starts recording. Maya's stomach twists. She knows how fast this can spiral. She's seen the body cam footage, read the reports where uncooperative becomes a death sentence. By what law am I trespassing? She asks, voice firm, loud enough for Sarah's phone to catch. Boone steps closer, his shadow swallowing her chair. You want to argue? Fine. Downtown it is. And just like that, it's not about a permit anymore. It's about power, about making her small. Boone grabs her arm, yanks her up, not hard enough to bruise, but enough to say he can do whatever he wants. Vance follows, pulling zip ties from his belt like it's second nature. The crowd's murmuring now, some folks whispering. She's not doing anything wrong, but nobody moves. Fear's a hell of a leash. They drag her toward the communal grills, where coals are still glowing, smoke curling up like a warning. Boone shoves her against the metal frame, the heat licking at her arms, and loops her wrists through the grate with the zip ties. Stay put. He barks, then grabs a bottle of hot sauce from a nearby table, some cheap, sticky stuff left by campers. He shakes it, the cap popping open with a click that makes Maya's gut lurch. Don't, she says, not begging, just drawing a line. He doesn't listen. He pours it, slow, deliberate, the red gunk dripping through her hair, down her face, stinging her eyes. Grill's hot tonight, he sneers, and Vance laughs, a nervous, ugly sound that says he's in too deep to back out. The crowd gasps, some folks turning away, others frozen, but Sarah's still filming, her hands shaking but steady enough to catch it all. Maya's burning inside, not from the sauce or the coals, but from the humiliation, from knowing they're trying to break her, to make her a joke for these strangers to laugh at. A couple of guys chuckle nervously, not because it's funny, but because they're too scared to challenge a badge. A kid starts crying, her mom whispering, "Don't look, baby." But Maya won't let them win. "My name is Maya Thompson," she says, loud, clear, staring right into Boone's sunglasses. "You're breaking the law. You're being recorded." Boone just grins. "Dinner and a show," he says to the crowd, like he's the star of some twisted play. But Sarah's phone keeps rolling, and that little red light is about to change everything. Here's where it shifts, y'all, the moment they didn't see coming. Boone and Vance, they're so caught up in their power trip they don't notice the crowd growing, phones popping up like fireflies. They rifle through Maya's bag, looking for something to pin on her, and that's when it happens. A leather wallet tumbles out, flips open, and there it is, a badge, glinting in the firelight. Not just any badge. It says, Maya Thompson, Virginia Public Defender. Boone freezes, his smirk gone like it was slapped off. Vance's eyes widen, like he just stepped on a landmine. A public defender. Someone who knows the law better than they do. Someone who spent years fighting their kind of lies in court. The crowd murmurs, "She's a lawyer?" And it's like the air shifts, like the ground under Boone's boots isn't so steady anymore. Boone tries to play it off, shoves the badge back into the bag, snarls, "Doesn't mean shit out here." But you can hear it in his voice, he's rattled. He knows this isn't just some random black woman he can bury under fake charges. This is someone who can fight back, someone who knows how to make the system listen. Vance mutters, "Travis, we gotta cool this." But Boone's too far gone, his pride a runaway train. "We control the story," he hisses, dragging Maya to a squad car, charging her with trespassing and, get this, drug possession, claiming they found a baggie in her stuff. It's a lie so blatant it's almost laughable, but they're banking on their word outweighing hers. They didn't count on Sarah's video. That teenage girl, barely 16, uploads the clip that night, her hands shaking as she hits post. By morning, it's everywhere: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, blowing up with hashtags like "Justice for Maya" and "Cops Caught Dirty." The footage is brutal. Maya tied to the grill, Boone's cruel laugh, the hot sauce dripping down her face like blood. Comments flood in. "This is America in 2025. How dare they treat her like that? If they'll do this to a lawyer, what about the rest of us?" News stations pick it up, anchors replaying the clip with grim faces, and suddenly Boone and Vance aren't just small-town cops anymore, they're the face of everything wrong with the system. Maya's in a holding cell now, wrists raw, hair still sticky with sauce. But word of the video reaches her through a janitor who whispers, "They're talking about you out there." She doesn't smile, doesn't cry, she just nods, because she knows this fight's bigger than her now. Back at the station, Boone's pacing, cursing the damn kids with phones, while Sheriff Dan Carver, their boss, slams his desk. "We were supposed to control this," he barks, but it's too late. The internet doesn't care about their press release. It cares about that video, about Maya's voice cutting through the smoke, saying, "You're breaking the law." Then comes the game changer. A cop, a young one, Nate Harper, barely 28, who's been on the force a year, can't stomach it anymore. He's seen Boone and Carver pull this crap before, framing folks, burying complaints, silencing anyone who speaks up. Nate sneaks out a folder: internal reports, fake evidence logs, hushed-up brutality cases, all pointing to a department rotten to its core. He slips it to a civil rights lawyer, Jamal Carter, who's been fighting cases like Maya's for years. Jamal meets Maya in a diner, slides the folder across the table, and says, "This isn't just about you. This is about everyone they've hurt." Maya's hands shake as she reads names, dates, lives ruined, all signed off by Carver and his cronies. She looks at Jamal, says, "We take this to the state." "No, to Congress." Cut to D.C., a Senate hearing room packed to the rafters, cameras flashing like lightning. Maya's at the witness table, her voice steady as she lays it out. "They tied me to a grill, humiliated me, planted drugs not because I broke a law, but because I'm a black woman who dared to exist in their world." The senators lean in, some nodding, others squirming. One, a guy named Senator Holt, tries to trip her up, asks, "Miss Thompson, can you confirm you've never used drugs?" The room gasps, but Maya doesn't blink. "Senator, are you asking about my actions or my skin?" The place erupts not chaos, but recognition. That clips on every news show by nightfall. Maya's words a rallying cry for anyone who's ever been profiled. Back home, the fight gets uglier. Someone nobody knows who yet firebombs Maya's house in the dead of night. She grabs her daughter, Lila, barely 8, and they stumble out, coughing, as flames eat their living room. A neighbor's kid, a 17-year-old named Jamal, catches the license plate of a fleeing car on his phone, another piece of evidence the cops can't bury. The news runs it 24/7, tying it to Maya's case, and the outrage grows. Civil rights groups demand protection, hashtags like Protect Maya trend, and people start asking, who's next if they can do this to a public defender? Then, the hammer drops. FBI agents storm the Willow Creek station, cuffs snapping on Boone, Carver, and half a dozen others. The charges? Conspiracy, evidence tampering, civil rights violations. The news cameras catch it all. Boone's wide-eyed panic, Carver shouting, "This is a witch hunt," as they're hauled off. Maya watches from a safe house with Lila, her heart racing, not with joy, but with something heavier: vindication. The trial's a circus, but Maya's there, testifying, her voice cutting through the lies like a blade. Nate takes the stand, too, his voice cracking as he names names, exposes the rot. The jury doesn't take long. Guilty on all counts. Boone gets 30 years, Carver life without parole, their pensions stripped, assets funneled to victims' funds. The courtroom cheers, but Maya just sits there, Lila's hand in hers, knowing this isn't the end. The final scene, picture it, y'all. Willow Creek's town square, packed with thousands, black, white, old, young, all marching, chanting, "Justice ain't negotiable." Maya's up on a stage, not as a victim, but as a force, her voice carrying over the crowd. "We're not here to celebrate a win, we're here to demand a world where nobody's kid has to fear a badge." The crowd roars, candles flickering as the sun sets, a drumline keeping the rhythm of hope alive. Later, at a community meeting, Nate and other cops step up, some crying, saying, "We failed you, Maya. We're here to rebuild trust." It's raw, messy, real, not a fix, but a start. Maya's last moment comes at a local college, speaking to a room full of law students, their eyes wide, notebooks open. She doesn't talk about the grill or the fire, she talks about power, about how justice isn't a verdict, it's a choice you make every day. "You're the next chapter," she tells them, her voice soft but fierce. "Don't wait for permission to do what's right." The room's on its feet, clapping, some crying, because they know this isn't just her story, it's theirs, too. But here's the thing, y'all, this ain't tied up with a bow. The system's still creaky, still got folks who'd rather burn a house than face the truth. Maya's out there, still fighting, still getting threats, still wondering if one verdict can change a country. So I'm asking you, what's the biggest obstacle to justice where you live? Would you risk it all like Maya did, like Nate, like that kid Sarah with her phone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this story, because justice ain't just Maya's fight, it's ours, and it starts with what we're willing to say out loud.